Welcome back to See It and Feel It with Dr. Brett. Yeah, that's a pretty hard part, right? Because you go from high school where you're a big star, right? And then you transition to college and now you're not, now you got to almost start over again in some respects, right?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of people because you if you're playing college football, you've most likely been starting your entire life. You've never had to compete to get the starting spot. You're never really a backup. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely got to be the hardest part.
Who's your favorite backup in the NFL and why?
I'm a big Ryan Fitzpatrick fan.
Are you really? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I mean, I think he's done a great job everywhere he's been. He's been probably to half the teams in the NFL. But I think everywhere he goes, he does a great job. I mean, look at last year in Tampa. They put him in. He went viral. He got the Dolphins back to a winning record before they pulled him for Tua this year. I just think he does a great job.
Yeah, he seems to have an amazing attitude, right? It was pretty fascinating when he got replaced recently by Tua. He was so kind of open and honest about it. Felt like he was heartbroken, right? And it was kind of awesome that somebody was able to just say their truth, when we live in a world now where people often don't speak their mind, right? They're afraid to say their truth. He was heartbroken. What do you
Yeah,
think of that decision?
especially in the NFL.
Yeah, what do you think of that decision to start Tua?
Um, I didn't really understand it at first. I thought Fitzpatrick was doing what they needed him to do. He was getting wins, and that's ultimately the biggest thing in the NFL. But if they felt Tua was ready, that was kind of the game plan from the start. So I mean, I'm no general manager, but it seems like it was a good choice. I mean, he's 3-0.
Yeah, it seems like it's really working out well. I mean, they were very conservative with him the first game, and the last, then the next game he sort of had like, just an amazing performance, and then this one, this last one, I for some reason I'm seeing Miami. Oh, we're down here in Florida, so I'm like for some reason I've lived all over the country, so it's like sometimes when I'm living in a new environment, I'm like, why am I seeing those football games? But yeah, I've
Right.
seen a lot of the Miami games. We also see when you see the West Coast games, I've seen what's his name for Arizona. It's just that guy is just unbelievable.
Yeah, Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is just so fun to watch. Did you see the Hail Mary the other day?
Yeah,
Yesterday?
we did. Yeah, my dad's a big Bills fan, so he wasn't too happy about that.
He was horrified, right?
Yeah, he was
I
not
know. They
happy.
just their defense, they didn't like they only had three or four people in the end zone. They were covering people at 30 yards out. It was just, they made a lot of mental errors there on defense.
Yeah, that's the worst way to lose a game for sure.
So tell me about, that aspect of the game too. Because obviously all sports, there's, mental, emotional, and, even spiritual components, not just this big physical one that so much of us are, sort of, mostly tuned into most of our lives. Tell us about the other components here.
Yeah, so when you kind of think about when you think about football, you think it's just a physical sport. Think about practice, you think about lift, you think about the games, but a lot of it comes down to, like you said, the mental and spiritual stuff. Like not only like mental in the sense of like watching film, understanding like the playbook, understanding your responsibilities, but also making sure that sometimes every once in a while you take a break from football. I mean, I think that's a lot of guys do that here, whether it's what we do is golf, kind of just going out, getting food with friends. But sometimes the best thing you can do is get away from football, clear your mind a little bit, and that ultimately lets you come back more focused.
Yeah, and that's pretty well said because sometimes people get not just with football but anywhere in life where it's like you get too honed in, and then there's just then you start to like it makes it even harder, right, when you're too honed in, right? You don't have any kind of way of letting go, and when we're not letting go, usually we don't perform at our best either, right?
Right. Yeah. If you're too stressed about performing or doing certain things, or all you can think about is football, sometimes you're not going to do your job to the best of your ability. I mean, if you relax, you'll play 100 times better.
Do you have any buddies that you've helped out now that you've gotten more sophisticated in this arena, in this
Yeah,
area?
I have some buddies from back home that do play at other schools that were feeling some stress about football. So just getting to talk to them and kind of telling them what I've been feeling, experiencing, them giving me some feedback, me giving them some feedback. I think it's helped both of us.
Now you've developed, meditation and mindfulness skills. Tell us about that. How's that work for you?
Yeah, I mean, at first it was a little difficult, never really done anything like that, but just through repetition and the more and more you do it, the more you feel comfortable with it. And I
Hmm.
think it really helps you relax, clear your mind, and just especially the visualization stuff, I think has been really good for me. Just at night, just like pretending to see what I want to see. I think it's really helped manifest some like the things I want to see in my game.
Yeah, it's amazing how, productive it can be, right? When we're actually, instead of worrying, we're actually doing something active like visualization, right? Or
Right,
even the simple techniques of picking up your breath, right? A lot of people, when they're stressed, that's like they forget to breathe entirely. I notice that sometimes putting. It's like,
right.
I
Yeah,
forgot to breathe.
yeah, definitely.
How's your golf game, by the way?
It's getting better. I mean, I think the first time I really started playing was over quarantine, but that was just kind of with my buddies. So no one's really that good. So didn't really hold me to a higher standard. But I never really learned how to play. So I kind of just learned on the fly. But over the summer, I played a lot up here and we try to get out on the course if it's not too cold at least once a week now. So I'm getting a lot better.
What do you got, another week or two, and that's it? No more golf until the spring?
We're lucky to have gotten this far.
Totally.
It's snowed. I think it started snowing 2 weeks ago,
Now,
but
are
we
you
hit
one
a
of those people? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, huh?
yeah.
Are you one of those people that like the cold?
I like seasonal changes,
Got it.
but I mean, I like the cold at first, but then once it's 2 months in, it's kind of a little too much for me.
So you can't see yourself playing in Miami? Too warm? I guess you get
Uh
the 8 road
I
games
could
though.
definitely see myself playing in Miami, but I mean, I
Where would
love
you
New
live if
England.
you were free to choose anywhere?
If I was free to choose anywhere, where would I go?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to the Outer Banks a few times with my family. Kind of seems like the perfect contrast between like too hot, too cold.
Well,
It's hot and
I have a buddy of mine that I play golf with, and he's from North Carolina, and he's like it kind of is a really nice balance. You do get seasons in North Carolina, right?
yeah,
And the
and
Outer
the
Banks I
winter
haven't
never
been
gets
to
too
since I was
cold.
a kid.
Yeah, never gets too cold.
But those Outer Banks are pretty special though, especially if you're into like the ocean and nature and fishing and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. I used to go when I was in middle school, kind of early high school. We used to go every summer with my family and a couple other families. Just get a big house. It was awesome.
Nice, very cool. What are you curious about? What do you want to share, or what do you want to ask at this point?
I think one of the biggest, just kind of sharing something from my experiences of football is, like I said before, just take your time with everything. It's not a 1 day process. It's going to take some time. It may even take a couple of years. I know plenty of guys that came in expected to start. Next thing they know, they're fifth on the depth chart, don't end up playing until their third or fourth year. And then that's when they break out.
Mm.
So sometimes you have to just prepare your body mentally and physically and just kind of weather the storm for a little bit because you're going to find what you want to find at the end, which is ultimately playing.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Patience is like one of those things that I think all of us, humans, probably, on some level we might struggle with the most. Letting go and patience, I feel like, are two of the sort of hardest things that we can do, right?
Right,
So,
definitely.
how do you find that patience in you?
Um, I think just over time, I think at first I was really impatient, especially since I was here. Just kind of wanted to move up on the depth chart, doing everything I could, which is still really good. But sometimes you have to understand that you're not either not ready physically or mentally. So you have to work on one of those aspects before you really see changes.
Yeah, that's well said. Anything else, David, that you want to share or you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
All right, awesome. Absolute pleasure. I'm Dr. Brett, and I'm here today with David Summers, D1 quarterback, Syracuse. Absolute pleasure. We'll catch up another time in your future. Thanks
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me. Sounds
All right,
good.
awesome, man. Take care. Thanks for watching See It and Feel It with me, Dr. Brett. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, or share it with a friend.